What is truth? How do we know that something is true? These seem like obvious questions, but the closer we look, the more that we realize there's a lot to unpack there. Here at the University of Maine at Augusta, we have an annual academic theme, and this year the annual academic theme is truth. That means that we're going to be reading together books like Jennifer Nagle's Knowledge, A Very Short Introduction. Short only because it has very small text. And then we'll be trying to apply that to our coursework, to our research into the world, to our attempts to unpack the truth. The more we look, the more complicated it gets. And I remember when that hit home for me when I was young. I was watching the television, and I was watching a news analysis show, and a pair of pundits came on, and a television anchor said, "Will the president's new jobs program improve the economy?" And I expected very short answers because I was very young. I expected yes or a no. And I was flabbergasted that the two pundits went on for hours and hours and hours, it seemed, talking about all sorts of things, but never using the words yes or no to answer the question. It seemed to me they never had answered the question. And it was only as I grew older that I began to understand why. To answer a simple question such as, will the president's jobs program improve the economy? In order to assert some knowledge about the subject, in order to make a statement that claims to be true, you have to do a lot of work up front. So, well, first you need to know who the president is. And second, you need to be aware of what the jobs program is. You need to talk about it. You need to be able to discuss what the jobs program means. And then there's an interesting piece of work you have to do, which is to describe the rest of that sentence, which is improve the economy. What does an improvement look like? What is the economy, by the way? Is the economy the well-being of a human being, an individual? Is the economy the set of jobs that people have? Is the economy measured in terms of output? How do we describe that? Is economy measured in terms of tax being sent to the government? In order to answer these questions, we have to do something called operationalization. Operationalization is the practice of describing and providing an exact definition of a term, and doing it so that it's possible for everybody to know it when they see it, and everybody to come away with the same understanding of it. So, if I wanted to define, let's say, crop here, right? And I wanted to define the health of the crop. Well, to operationally define it, I'd need to get a little bit more exact. So, is the health of the crop, in this case corn, measured by its height? How tall it gets? That's one way of measuring it. Is it measured in terms of the lushness of the leaves? Some of these leaves are brown, some of them are green. That's another way of measuring it. Is it measured by the fullness of the tassels, which are at the top, which are one way that corn goes to seed and then creates ears of corn down below that are pollinated? That's another way of doing it. Is it the presence of ears of corn, the number of ears of corn? When I say number of ears of corn, do I mean number of ears of corn total or per unit area? All of a sudden, a very simple question about what is the healthiness of a crop becomes really complicated. And in order to move anywhere, we have to have some kind of agreement about the operational definition of crop health. Similarly, when it comes to improvement of the economy, we have to understand whether we're talking about number of jobs per capita, that is per person, in exactly what measurement we have. If we don't have those measurements, then we won't be able to move forward. And that's why having operationalization is the key to being able to answer questions about the state of our knowledge, and in order to determine what is true and what is not.